When my husband took our son camping, I was just glad they were bonding. I spent the weekend cleaning, resting, missing them. Until I found a receipt in the trash for a spa resort 2 hours away, with a couple's package. I called the resort. Asked who checked in. They said, Mr. and Mrs. Carter. That's not my name. I waited until they got home, kissed my son, then handed my husband the bill for a weekend lawyer consultation. He said, "Can't we just talk?" I said, "That's what your other wife is for. We've been married 10 years. We live in a quiet neighborhood outside Spokane, Washington. We've got one kid, Mason, 6 years old. Smart little guy, full of questions, loves frogs and dinosaurs. He's our whole world. My husband, Ben, works in home security. Long hours. Weekends, sometimes. I work part-time at a dental office. We juggle things, like most people. We used to be closer. But the last 2 years, I felt something shift. Nothing huge at first. Less eye contact. Fewer texts. No more date nights. But I thought we were just busy. Then last month, Ben said he wanted to take Mason camping. Just the two of them. Said they needed man time. I was touched. Mason was excited. They packed the cooler, sleeping bags, and drove off Friday morning. He even kissed me twice before leaving. I had the whole weekend to myself. I planned to clean the house, catch up on laundry, maybe take a nap without a child jumping on me. I was glad they were bonding. I even felt a little guilty about how nice the silence felt. I missed them, though. By Saturday night, I was scrolling through old pictures of us. Family trips. Christmas mornings. I didn't expect anything. I didn't snoop. But on Sunday afternoon, while taking out the kitchen trash, I saw a piece of paper near the top. A folded receipt, stuck to an apple core. It was from a place called Wild Rock Spa and Springs. That name hit me like a slap. I recognized it. A girl at work had gone there for her anniversary. It was 2 hours from here. Not anywhere near a campsite. I pulled it out with 2 fingers. It was a printed receipt. 1 night stay. Couple's getaway package. King suite. Romantic hot spring soak. Room service for 2. Total, $842.39. The name on the booking? Mr. and Mrs. Carter. I stared at it for a long time. That's Ben's name. But I'm not Mrs. Carter. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I went inside, got on my laptop, and looked up the resort. I called the number listed. A woman answered, cheerful voice. "Thanks for calling Wild Rock Spa and Springs. How can I help you?" I said, "Hi, I'm just confirming a stay. My husband was there this weekend. Can you tell me who checked in under the name Carter?" She paused for a second. "Sure. That was Mr. and Mrs. Carter. Friday through Sunday." I said thank you and hung up. My hands were shaking, but my voice was calm. I had that weird, out-of-body feeling. Like I wasn't standing in my kitchen. Like none of it was real. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. I didn't call a friend. I didn't text my sister. I just sat with it. The next morning, Sunday, I looked up a local family lawyer. Drove 20 minutes, sat in her office, and asked some questions. Just information. She gave me a consultation, told me my options. I paid the fee, $250. Took the invoice home. That afternoon, Ben and Mason came back. Mason ran up the porch, dirty clothes, bug bites on his arms, big smile. "Mom." I saw a frog that looked like slime. I hugged him so hard he laughed. Ben was behind him, sunglasses on, carrying Mason's bag. "Hey," he said, casual. "We're back." I said, "Looks like you two had fun." "Yeah," he smiled. Good weekend. I noticed something odd then. No camping gear in the truck bed. No sleeping bags. No cooler. No smell of smoke. No bug spray. Later, when Mason was watching TV, I peeked in the truck. Empty, except for a few snack wrappers and a blanket that looked like it had never been used. I found a second phone charger in the front console. It wasn't mine. I didn't say a word. I waited until after dinner. After I tucked Mason into bed and kissed his forehead, I came back downstairs. Ben was on the couch, feet up, watching something on his phone. I sat across from him. Calm. He looked at me. What's up? I handed him 2 pieces of paper. The resort receipt. And the lawyer's invoice. He looked at them. Didn't say anything at first. His face stayed still, but his ears flushed red. Finally, he said, "Can't we just talk about this?" I said, "That's what your other wife is for." Ben froze. His hand stayed on the papers, but he didn't look at me. Just stared at the receipt like it would start burning in his fingers. "You're overreacting," he finally said. I leaned forward. "Try again." He opened his mouth like he was about to lie again, then stopped. Rubbed his forehead. "It's not what you think." "Then explain it." Slowly. He didn't. Instead, he stood up and started pacing like the living room was a prison yard. It wasn't serious. I swear. I was gonna end it. I didn't move. "Was Mason even with you the whole weekend?" He turned. That stopped him. "What?" "Don't pretend you didn't hear me." Yeah, of course he was. "We were, no." "Don't lie again. You never went camping. There's no gear. No campfire smell. You left with him Friday and came back Sunday with bug bites and dirt on his shirt. But that receipt says you were in a spa for couples the whole time. So where was our son?" He stared at me, mouth slightly open. Like he hadn't even thought about how that part looked. "Did you leave him with someone?" I pressed. "Who? Your girlfriend? Her family? Did you dump him off while you played house with some woman?" He didn't answer. That silence hurt more than anything. "I left him with her sister," he finally said. "She has a little boy too. They played. It was safe. You left our 6-year-old with strangers." "She's not a stranger to me." I stood up so fast the chair screeched. "Oh, I bet she's not." "What is she then?" "Your girlfriend? Your fiancé? Another wife?" He looked tired now. Small. Like the lies were starting to weigh down on him. "I met her at a job last summer," he said. "She needed a system installed at her shop. We talked. It just happened." "How long?" He didn't answer. "How long, Ben?" 10 months. 10 months. 10 months of dinners, bedtimes, school pickups, holidays, while he was cheating. While he was spending weekends playing happy couple in spa resorts and letting our son sleep in some stranger's house. I sat back down before my legs gave out. "Is she pregnant?" I asked. He looked up fast. Eyes wide. "What? No. No." I didn't believe him. "Not really." "You need to leave," I said. My voice didn't shake. "Now. I'll explain to Mason that you're staying at Uncle Jared's for work. And you'll pick him up next Saturday like nothing's changed. We'll figure the rest out through the lawyer." He didn't move. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." He grabbed the receipt and the invoice like they were still negotiable. "You're gonna throw away 10 years over one mistake?" I looked him in the eye. "No, Ben. You threw it away. I'm just cleaning up after you." He walked out 15 minutes later. No suitcase. Just his keys and his phone. I watched through the front window as he sat in the truck for a while before driving off. I locked the door behind him. Then I went upstairs and lay next to my son, listening to his quiet breathing, while trying not to cry. The first few days after Ben left were strange. I kept waiting to wake up and find him in the kitchen, like it was all just a bad dream. Mason asked about him a few times. I stuck to the story, Daddy's working out of town for a bit. That seemed to satisfy him, for now. But the lawyer told me I needed to act fast. Washington's laws are fair, but if I didn't move first, Ben could try to spin things to his favor. She told me to start gathering documents, bank records, anything with dates. That's when I found something else. Our joint savings account was almost empty. I hadn't checked it in months. Ben was the one who usually handled the bills. There had been close to $18,000 in there when I last looked. Now? Just over $2,200. And the transaction history? Multiple large ATM withdrawals over the last 6 months. Some as high as $800, taken out late at night from machines nowhere near our side of town. I called the bank and asked for security footage access. They couldn't give it to me, but they confirmed the ATM locations. One was at a gas station in Pasco. Another in Yakima. The resort was in Kennewick. All clustered together. I brought the list to the lawyer. She frowned. He might be funneling money to someone. Or trying to hide it from you before filing. Then came the bigger twist. 3 days later, I got a call, from a woman. She said, "Is this Olivia Carter?" My stomach dropped. "Who's this?" She paused. "My name's Hannah. I think we need to talk about Ben." I stepped into the hallway and shut my bedroom door. "Go on." She let out a shaky breath. "I didn't know about you." "I swear." "He told me his wife died 3 years ago in a car crash. He said he was raising a son alone. That's the only reason I let him bring the boy around." Everything stopped. "He said I died?" I repeated. "Yes. He never mentioned your name. He told me he'd been through grief therapy and was finally ready to love again." I couldn't breathe. I sat down hard on the bed. She kept talking. "I found your name on a prescription bottle in his truck. That's how I started looking. I thought maybe you were an ex. Then I found your Facebook. You're not dead. And you're still married. Or were." I whispered, "He brought my son into a house where he said I was dead." "I'm so sorry," she said. "I didn't know. I would have never let him. He lied about everything. About who he was, about the money." I blinked. "What money?" "I loaned him $4,000 last month. He said he had to replace stolen equipment at work. I wired it straight to his personal account. That was the same week the ATM drained our savings." I hung up the phone in a daze. My heart was thudding so loud I couldn't think. Ben hadn't just cheated. He'd built an entire double life, lied to another woman about me being dead, used our son as bait, and drained our savings to fund it. The next morning, I met the lawyer again. She said, "We need to go after everything. Financial misconduct. Full custody. Restraining order if needed." I nodded. Because it wasn't just about me anymore. Ben had used our son like a prop in some twisted game. Lied to him. Lied to me. Lied to her. And now he was out there, probably spinning more stories. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. And I was ready to fight for it. The weeks that followed were chaos. I filed for divorce. My lawyer served him the papers at his job, right in front of his coworkers. She made sure of it. She said, "If he wants to live a double life, let him explain it publicly." He tried to call me 6 times that day. I didn't answer. I froze our accounts, got full emergency custody, and changed the locks. But Ben wasn't done yet. A few days later, I got served his paperwork. He wanted shared custody. He claimed I was emotionally unstable, vindictive, and trying to alienate him from his son. He even said in writing that I created a false story about infidelity to ruin his name. The nerve. My lawyer said, let him lie. We've got more than enough to bury him. And we did. At the custody hearing, we had the resort receipt. We had the bank records. We had the phone log. And we had Hannah. She showed up. Sat beside me in the waiting area like we were longtime friends. She held a stack of texts and emails from Ben, screenshots proving he lied, manipulated her, even joked about how gullible I was. She testified that Ben told her I died in a car crash. The judge looked like she wanted to throw something at him. When it was Ben's turn to speak, he tried to look sorry. Said I twisted the truth. Said he only left Mason with Hannah's sister because it was temporary. He even started crying. The judge wasn't buying it. She ruled full legal and physical custody to me. Supervised visits for him. No overnights. She ordered a full financial investigation, and that's when we found something I didn't expect. Ben had drained not just our savings, but opened a secret credit card in my name. Over $7,000 in charges. Mostly restaurants, hotels, gas stations around Eastern Washington. My lawyer said I could press charges. So I did. He was arrested 2 weeks later for identity theft and fraud. He lost his job. His other woman, Hannah, blocked him on everything. And the cherry on top? The company he worked for, installing home security systems, filed a lawsuit against him too. Turns out he'd lied on his time cards, billing hours for jobs he never showed up to. They called it wage theft. Over $10,000. Ben pled guilty to avoid jail. Got probation and fines. He still sees Mason every other Saturday. For 2 hours, supervised by a court rep, Mason doesn't ask about him much anymore. He's focused on school. Baseball. Making frog traps in the backyard. As for me? I learned something important. I ignored signs. Let things slide. Trusted someone who stopped earning it. That was my mistake. But I fixed it. And I made damn sure the man who betrayed his wife, his son, and another woman never got the chance to do it again. He thought he could lie and live 2 lives. I gave him one. The one he earned. Alone.